Hi there guys, welcome back to another video on the Calibra. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be trying to get this Calibra started. Oh, we get life. I'm so tempted to turn it over, but no, I need to even see if the engine's free. I bet the starter motor's seized, I bet the alternator's seized. So no, I won't test anything else. I'm not even going to test the sunroof, because if it opens I can't close it again, then I'm in shit's creek. So it works, the interior does. Well, yeah, it is showing there's no fuel in it. The airbag light goes off as well. Do you know what? It feels nice in here. It does feel nice. I'm falling in love already. I shouldn't really. Right, let's see if the lights work. Dashboard lights work. Something's come on at the front as well. We've got a number plate light out at the back. It's terrible. Vauxhall, come on. Improve things, will you? 15 years sitting there and most of the bulbs still work in the car. See if front lights work. Side lights as well. See if main beam works. We're doing well. We are doing well. Main beam works as well. So all the lights work apart from a number plate light. I've got to try the indicators still. Works on the dashboard. No, we got an indicator bulb out because it's flashing fast. So there's one bulb out somewhere on the left hand side. The right hand side is okay. Let's knock the lights off now. Let's try the wing mirrors. Well, the other one isn't even attached, so I don't know what's going to go on with those. They don't work. Does the stereo work? Oh, we have life. The aerial's not going to work because there isn't really one on the roof. That's been broken. One more thing to check. Does the horn work? I don't really want to touch it, but even the horn works. Heater. Oh, heater works. So I think the fan's probably got something blocking it. Oh, it's got the stink even worse. Oh my God, I'm getting out. Oh. 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 I think something might have died in there. Oh. So yeah. So I can't believe it, but nigh on all the electrics work. All the bulbs work apart from a couple. I think I've got 2 to change. Heater works. Yes, it might stink a bit, but it works. I am thrilled to bits that is almost ready to turn it over, but no, I've resisted. So what I need to do now, I need to go and order an oil filter cam belt kit, and I've got to put some tyres on it. Luckily I've got some 15-inch tyres over there, and they are cheap and nasty ones, but the 195 55 15, so they should fit those wheels. They're probably not the right size, but they'll go on, and that's all that matters. So at least I can then get it on the ramp, and we'll try and turn it over and see what happens. So when I've got more time, we'll get those wheels swapped over so we can then drag it in onto the ramp a little bit easier, and then we can get a breaker bar onto the crank and see if the crank turns over. We were showing no fuel, so either the fuel pump's kaput, which I probably expect it to be after 15 years if it was sitting in a bit of fuel. So yeah, I've got to go and order some parts for it now and see if we can get it running in this episode. As I'm going to be getting in and out of it a fair old bit more, I want to get rid of some of this debris because it was rather disgusting in there. I've still not had time to clean it all up, but at least all the poo's gone from inside it now. I think we're going to have to take all the interior out because there's going to be spiders, mice, rats, you name it, living inside the bits you can't see. So yeah, the whole interior is going to have to come out and be deep cleaned. So here we are a few days later now. Some of the parts have arrived. So let's strip it down a little bit, take a look at that cam belt, get the tyres changed and then get it in the unit. So as you can hear in the background, the gardeners were there and they were making a lot of noise mowing the grass, so I decided I was just going to voice over this bit. As you can see, that air filter wasn't in that bad of a condition. So now I'm trying to access the cam belt area by removing all the airbox, and then it should give me access to the 3 or 5 10mm bolts which cover the cam belt. And once we can see that, we can see whether it's worthwhile turning it over or not. As you can see there, it doesn't look too bad. I did have a look a little bit further down afterwards, and it doesn't look particularly cracked or as though it's done a million miles, so I think we might be in luck here and we can turn it over as is. Which is while editing this video, for that whole day I was wearing my top inside out and I never even noticed. Doesn't look too bad underneath there. I think those discs will clean up, what do you reckon? Because I don't think so. Yeah, new pads and discs, clean up the brake calipers. It'll probably be seized calipers, to be honest. The wishbones are absolutely knackered. It'll want some new anti-roll bars putting on it. Shockers and springs should hopefully be okay. Right, let's get some tyres on it now using my very rarely used tyre machine. The tyres that I'm putting on it are not as wide and they are a little higher, but as long as they don't rub and I can get it in the unit, that's all I want, because the wheels are going to need refurbishing more than likely. Yeah, and I never really tend to use this tyre machine very much because it does tend to mark the alloys when you are doing lower profile tyres. So I don't tend to use them on customer cars because of the damage that it can cause. But on the smaller tyres with larger profile wheels, tyres, it's not an issue. Now I was very surprised at how deteriorated these tyres were over 15 years. Most of them would have just cracked, but this was like literally rotting through. I've never saw rubber rot like it. Good coat of tyre soap now, get this wheel on, then I'll do all 4 off screen, get them fitted, and then we can get the car in the unit. And I haven't balanced the wheels because it's not going to be going any faster than 10 miles an hour if I'm lucky enough to get it running today. So after a load of toing and throwing and becoming extremely worn out pushing it in, we finally got it outside and onto the ramp. So let's get the bonnet up once again. We'll get the oil changed, we'll get the spark plugs changed, chuck a little bit of oil into the cylinders, and then we'll rotate the engine a few times just to see what is happening in there and make sure it rotates freely. First of all, let's get it up in the air and let's see if I was right about all that rust. Right, as we had a good poke and prod in the last episode, there shouldn't be any more horror stories other than this bit here. I mean, the seals look perfectly fine. Those fuel pipes do look really bad. There's going to be one here to do, another little spot that I didn't see before, maybe a little bit up there, and again a little bit there. That's okay there. That's still solid there. And let's try and just check underneath here. That looks okay as well. So yeah, there's like 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, 5 spots of rust to repair. Fuel filters there, that looks easy to access because I do imagine I'm going to have to drop the tank to replace the pump. But overall, you know, yeah, it's rusty, but it ain't too bad. There's still things growing out of it, spiky things. That looks okay. That is so going to start leaking. So I suppose we better start by trying to drain the oil out of it. Oh, that came undone reasonably easily. Let's see if this will come off. Oh yes, it does. I was expecting that to go into a million rust pieces. You know what I should have done first was got the ruddy oil filter out of the blooming car with the spark plugs and the oil and everything. What I'm doing now is I'm just loosening each plug to the point where I feel as though they will come out safely and quite easily. The fourth one though was rather stiff, and as you can hear it was struggling to come out a bit, but luckily it did come out. Right, let's see how bad these plugs are. Not that bad. Overall, I don't think these were probably that old when they were put in, but we are still talking 15 years. Yeah, GM plugs as well. From what I can see of the pistons, everything still looks shiny and bright, metal coloured, not rust, so that's a good sign as well. So before I put the plugs in, I'm going to put some WD-40 in the cylinders, just to lubricate them up a bit. That'll hopefully reduce or stop any of the scoring that will happen from turning the engine over. I'm not going to put the spark plugs in yet. I am going to turn the engine by hand once I've put the oil in. Now I've done the smallest amount of research on this engine, and it is a non-interference engine, so if it does go boom when I turn it over, it's not going to cause any damage to the valves. And I'm making a mess because I left a bit of the cover on the hole. I'd say it's probably about 4.5 litres in this. I didn't check that, so we'll have to have a look after about 4 litres on how it is up the dipstick. Almost bang on. That'll do for now anyway. Right, I'm going to get access to the cam belt cover first so I can see the whole of the cam belt before I turn the engine over. So now I'm going to remove the alternator belt because I want to make sure that there's nothing in the belt stopping it from going round. But in order to do that, I need two hands. So pull the pulley up like that, look, and it frees off. And then we'll take the crank pulley off. This is where I hope none of them snap. I'm probably going to regret this, but I've got to try it because it doesn't want to come off. Almost ready to admit defeat on these, so I'm going to give them a clean up. Try once more, and then if not, I'm going to have to get the welder on them. No, you little bugger. Oh well, first hurdle. I've now got to weld something onto there to get those undone. Yay! Right, welded two nuts onto that now, so fingers crossed they will come out. Well, that didn't work. And the second one hopefully will come off. Yay! Honestly, I only welded that once and it came. Both of them came off first attempt. Honest, no lying, promise. At least it didn't land on my foot. Well, the alternator isn't seized. That does surprise me. Other than being rusty, there's tension on the belt, about the right amount. I'm talking like I know what I'm doing on these cars. This is actually the first time I've done one of these, but it's literally only an 8-valve engine, so it can't be that bad. So I think we're good to rotate this engine by hand. There you go, first time that's turned over in 15 years. I did rotate the engine probably about 20 times fully, so the WD-40 should have lubricated these cylinders quite well. While we're doing that, let's just make sure everything turns over. Power steering pump turns. A little bit of outside play, but not to and fro. Alternator is nice and free. Now that really does surprise me, is that the alternator will turn. I expected after 15 years of not moving that would have been seized, but that's perfectly fine. Let's hope the starter motor isn't seized as well. So now let's put some spark plugs back in it. And as the tension is still on that belt and it's a no interference engine, I'm going to put a battery on and see if it'll crank over. I don't expect it to start at all, but I want to see if it'll crank. Right, I'm going to leave the HT leads off. Let's put a battery on. I've got some lights on because I've left the ignition on. So big moment and drum roll. I'm going to see if this window will go down so I can have better access to the ignition. Windows and switches over there. Hey, window works. Now, big gamble, but it's got to be worth it, innit? It's not going to start because we've got no HT leads in it, and it's probably got no fuel anyway. I can't even hear the fuel pump buzzing, so let's see what happens then. That didn't sound the greatest, but I don't know how these are supposed to sound. But, you know, after 15 years, you'd sound a bit grouchy if you hadn't moved a muscle in 15 years. So, okay, let's pop the HT leads back in. In fact, no, let's see if we've got spark first. No spark from that. Luckily, I do have a new rotor arm to try. He's looking a little bit corroded, so let's get some paper on that. It is most definitely looking a little bit corroded, so let's clean them up and change the arm and see what happens. Now, I'm a sort of a modern generation mechanic where I've never ever had to really mess about with distributors or points or anything like that. So it's quite nice getting to do some basic mechanics for a change. I am really enjoying working on this car. This is one of the reasons why I took on something totally different that you would normally see on the channel. It's because it's just different to work on. It gets your brain cells firing a little bit more. Yes, it's only basic stuff, but it's going to bolts in different places. The things are put together in different ways. It's all old school, and it's just nice and therapeutic to me to be working on this. Those super observant will notice I do something wrong when I'm putting this back together. It's no detrimental effect to how the car runs, but I will need to correct it before it goes on the road. And there you go, that's my fault. I forgot to put the weather seal back in, so I'm going to have to correct that when I get back to work. I didn't even notice it myself until I was editing this video. I found my local parts place to inquire about a new cap, and I wanted 90 quid. I had a look on eBay and they were about 25 quid, so I haven't bought very many parts from my local parts supplier at the minute because they are extremely expensive. Now that's all back on, I am just sort of following the king lead to the coil, making sure that's all on and in position okay. So we have a new arm on now, so let's pop the spark plug back in and see if we get any action. Couldn't see that then, I better look back on the video. So we just had to record the video of it zoomed in so I could see it from there. and we are getting a spark. I'll see if I can put that in the video for you. So we'll put the HT leads in, see what happens. Yay! It runs, and that was it. Even doing a cam belt change. I'm going to assume that the fuel pump isn't working, but we'll see if it starts again in a second. Was that just running on easy, was it? It's got to be running on a little bit of leftover fuel, because there's no way it would run that long on that little squirt of easy start. I am one happy bunny. The engine runs, the engine's okay. We just need to work out why we're not getting fuel to the engine. It's probably out of fuel, or worst case, the fuel pump is knackered. So I think we'll end the video on a happy moment, and in the next video, we'll see why we're not getting any fuel up to the engine, and I'm hoping it's just out of fuel. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please, please, please give me a comment down below, because I am so satisfied that the engine will run. Well, I thought one slight push of the brake pedal and we'd have a leak, and we have.